get a gas tank. You just got to build half of it yourself. Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Ugly Jeeps. Today we have picked up the reproduction body for our 1946 CJ2A project that we're calling Boss's Jeep because it's my boss's Jeep. This body has been sitting in his garage for the last 20 years. Before that, it sat in a warehouse, well, it was their Napa store at the time, in a crate. His uncle had bought it sometime in the 80s, and they sent it to Portland and had it acid dipped and then coated. And then it stuck back in the crate, and it sat in a trailer in the parking lot for a few years, 10, who knows how long. And then eventually he took it over to his house. And I looked at it about 12 years ago. And when I looked at it 12 years ago, it looked to me like a cross between a MB and a 2A. And I didn't really know much about early 2A serial numbers where stuff crossed over. And so in the back of my mind, that's what it was, because it has a MB glove box and a tailgate. So today, when I picked it up, I remembered a few other things about it, and we're going to talk about those things in the video here shortly. It is, some parts are well done, some parts of it not so much, and everybody who thinks that the stuff that comes out of Omix, Ada, and MD1 and places like that today is low quality. I don't think they had much quality control at all. There's a lot of bad welds. There's a lot of dents, dings. The cowl looks like it was bent over a stump on the corners. It wasn't done very well at all. And it's kind to see, he always told me it was a military body, quote unquote. Well, it's kind of a cross between a MB and an M38. It doesn't have any side indentations. It has an MB glove box. It has an M38 tailgate. It has an M38 windshield frame. It has a cutout in the floor like an M38 has. It has the big gas tank nozzle and a half assembled gas tank, which we'll get to that also. So anyway, I'm going to give you a tour of it and show you some of the things that look pretty good and some of the things that look horrible. Now the fenders and the windshield frame and the tailgate are great. Those are like some of the best I've ever seen reproduction. The rest of the stuff, though, is kind of questionable. So anyway, here we go. Okay, the first thing I noticed about this was the M38 center section that's removable, but it has an MB glove box. The floorboards look pretty good. The back fenders and the spot welds on them, look pretty good fit and finish wise. It's got a weird flat spot for the steering column. I don't know why. Anyway, it's got a tailgate opening. The back of it looks like it fits on the frame pretty well. Some of the stuff you can see, you can definitely start telling it's reproduction when you start looking at things, how they were done. Moving around to the sides, there's no body overlap. There's no indents. Some little spot welds. The steps they're just atrocious looking. So we're gonna have to do something there. When you come around here to the cowl, now this is the good side of the cowl. It's got a number stamped right there. I don't know what that means. It's got an M38 like cover there where the wiring goes. Then you start looking at the spot welds over here. And particularly these things, they're held on. And it starts looking pretty bad. As you move over to the passenger side, And that's where things really start looking nasty. Yeah, it was, if this one got crimped or if they just had to beat it down to finish it. Then you see more of the spot welds that we're gonna have to address. Not all the holes are drilled out. Back on the inside, I don't know if I mentioned there's no gauge holes in this body, which is kind of a little bit of a problem, but we can fix it. Side braces kind of look there right, but not quite right. These, you know, I mean, the last time we had one of these bodies, which was about 12 years ago, it was light years ahead of this one. So I would say this is probably at least 35 to 40 years old. So the stuff that's coming out of there now is a lot better than it used to be. And this is what really gets me. An unfinished gas tank. I don't even, we picked up the body and this little ring fell out and we didn't even know what it was for. Well, there it is. Neck is not sealed all the way. It is the big neck because it's an M38. You want it to look like it. It came with 2 windshield frames and they both look reproduction. One looks like it's a little bit better reproduction than the other. We'll pick and choose which one we use for it. The fenders, though, the fenders are pretty good. They're actually the thing that has impressed me the most, besides the tailgate. How well done the fenders are. They must have had a really good fender guy in the 80s. Move over to the tailgate, just standard non-script, no holes. But flip it over, and it's got all the M38 braces in it. Looks really legit. I mean, some of the welds don't, but the rest of it, if you didn't know, you wouldn't know. The other fender looks pretty good too. And they even got wood in it. Even came with a glow box lid. And it came with, you know, it's the 80s, so you want to cut your own fuel filler neck hole, don't you? So that's going to be another hard part, figuring out. Luckily, I have an M38 at home to measure, so if we use that tank, we might end up just going with a 2A tank, and we will see. But that's about all I see right now. We're going to get the floor cover ripped out of this and start getting it to fit to the body. And we're hanging up on the bell housing. Steve's going to whip all the screws out with a gun, and we're going to see what we're laying on right now, because we're a little bit off on our fitment, and we can't get it to go over because it's laying on the bell housing. You feel silly when you break those off. You feel silly when you break some of those off. You gotta take that cover off the master cylinder. Well, we've moved from introduction to fitment of the body, and none of the holes are drilled, but the back ones on the bumper. So we're trying to line those up so we can get it kind of square, and then mark the rest so we can flip it over and drill it. So far, the far outside ones are 1/4 inch off, and the inside ones are kind of right. So we're going to wing it and measure it and wing it some more and flip it over and drill some holes and wing it and And hopefully it halfway is on there square when we're done. Well, one thing we see right off that we're gonna have to correct is where this channel ends up hitting the frame. It's missing it by quite a bit. So we're probably gonna have to address that right away by fixing the spot welds. Moving it over so it actually catches the frame. It's really bad on that side. The other side's not quite as bad, but it's still not great either. But we might be able to live with the driver's side. The passenger side's way off though. Okay, we got the thing stood up on its end and we can see how lovely, I mean really lovely, the bottom of it was put together. A few real spot welds followed by a bunch of not real spot welds. And they did the kind of cut and bend pie method on this thing. But where the thing is so far off on that brace, it looks fine, but so anyway, this is the brace that the hole is, where the hole needs to go for the body, right about here, but the mount misses it by about like that much. So we're just gonna move the mounts. But the rest of it doesn't look so bad. Oh my word. There's no brace in that for the spare tire mount. Oh wow. That's, wow. I need to stop looking at this thing. No, I know, but look how it's made.
I know.
Oh, so the one hole I was trying to use was not the hole that was drilled out right.
You see how far off they are.
Yeah, Steve's went ahead and marked how far off our holes are.
Not bad, but they're
Not horrible, but not great. So, yeah, I told you we needed to mark those. We'll have to put the body back on it and do it.
Well, I don't. Did we get a? Is that where your mark was?
Yes. No, that's where my mark was.
Okay.
You were on that side. I was on this side.
Then we gotta do those.
Oh boy.
I wonder if we just ream those that way.
No, I don't know. I would rather ream the body holes than the frame holes. Because look, they're not drilled. That one's not even close to being
Center.
square. But it needs to be even further off to this side.
Yeah.
So we might have to just re-drill them once we get the...
Did they weld those in there?
Yeah, we'll just have to get the
Oh, they welded them here, didn't
the rest of the body mounts. Drill out these holes first, get bolts in it, and then figure out where those need to go. This bit's not too good.
we came out. A bit.
I'm glad that's where you want the hole now that you drilled it.
So it came out just right, dead center.
Okay.
See, there's another, that steel comes on back, that mount does, and it covers that fucking channel. Otherwise, the channel's one of 3/8.
Okay, so you can see we've got the body off. It's upside down. Steve's over here drilling out the cross member holes, the back cross member that the body mounts to. We had to re-drill the holes for the center of the cross member, not the frame, because the frame holes would have ended up somewhere right about there. Anyway, we're moving on to this cross member dilemma we got up here. So this black line represents the frame, the outside of the frame. So this needs to go that way. If you can see, that's where our body mount hole would be on the frame. So we need to move this whole brace over to match it. We're gonna move it over to where this line is probably right about dead center in the middle of this brace. And I measured from here to this hole, which is 3.5, and then I measured from the back to this hole, which is 27. So I get this brace there, get the hole about in the middle, get it 3.5, 27, everything should line up. Good, I'm probably gonna go ahead and buzz this whole bracket off and re-weld it, because it's not on there super great. But we'll see how much ambition I got when I get there. I might just grind those welds a little bit, clamp it, and weld it better. So anyway, that's about what we've got done in the last half an hour. 45 minutes, it's just been measuring, drilling. That's how far off our frame holes were. I know they're not perfect, but this Jeep isn't gonna be perfect, so it doesn't matter. All right, moving on. All right, we've got that drilled out. Didn't take a whole lot. They had a few spot welds and crappy welds and not great. We might even, I guess it'd be better if that was moved back to lose that little bit there than it would be to have that gap.
We gotta remember your measurement here.
I know. Split the difference, I guess.
That some of these tacks.
Oh, I know, those steps need to get welded on way better.
Use it.
Yeah. You obviously got what you paid for. Good one.
Okay, third one. We'll have to clean them, grind them off, or we're just putting bolts in them.
Yeah. Probably just bolt it.
We'll do that when we put the bolts down through, make sure we know where we're going, and then...
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, it's cleaned up. It's back there where I kind of want it, clamped down. I got to drill a few spot weld holes and then weld it on. Steve's moving on to making these holes bigger. He's still got to drill these holes out here. And he got both of the mounts off the frame that we have to move a little bit instead of moving this whole brace like an inch. So progress. Also, if you could send him a message on his Instagram and tell him to throw that drill away, that'd be great. Okay, well, I've bird poop welded it back on in kind of the right spot. Drilled the hole kind of in the right spot. Steve got the back holes drilled out. And drill this hole over here. And then we'll probably flip it back. He's working on getting the engine and the cross member on there straight. The engine's a little bit crooked, and we need to get it over about probably ½ an inch or so in the back. Move the transfer case over. So I don't know what he's rigging up there, but when this thing flies out of there, it's gonna be pretty cool.
What the mouse doing?
I don't know. Coming out with it. Just intend to leave the mounts on there.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's gonna work. See, the problem is, it's too low for the jack, I think. Unless I add a block. Just gonna scoot it over a little bit.
I think the jack's gonna come up and hit the frame unless you go straight from the back. Are you trying to pull that cross member without pulling everything out of there?
No, I want to see where we're gonna be.
It's still a little bit better, but
Well, it's over that far. That ½ inch.
you know. Okay, well, this is pretty much going to wrap it up for the day. We got to this point where we need to figure out where the transfer case is going to be to make everything even, so we can get it mounted and then put the body back on so we can figure out where the steering column is going to kind of go. But we still don't have steering parts or box yet. Oh, just so you know, I got this Advanced Adapters Saginaw steering box mount off of Summit Racing. We're gonna go with a Saginaw box and just like a Chevy car Pitman arm. It's kind of what I've got on my green Jeep. And of course, because of COVID, there's no parts in stock anywhere. This stuff hasn't been made for a while, so we're waiting on steering U-joints and the steering box. They said it might ship by June 1st, which is, I hope, a joke, but we'll see. Anyway, we're heading out of here. We'll be back tomorrow to do some more. Have a good one.